Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you are new to this channel, you're very much welcome. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to cut and sew this beautiful gown that I'm putting on. So the inspiration is the one showing right now on the screen, while this is my recreation, and I styled this gown in two ways. Let me know in the comment section which one you love. Is it the one with the bodysuit or the one without the bodysuit? So if this is a tutorial you're interested in, please like this video, drop a lovely comment in the comment section, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to this channel. Thank you. So for this tutorial, you need about 3 yards of your fabric, you will need about 1 yard of lining, you will need a zipper. And for this type of fabric, I don't know the exact name of the fabric I use, but a crepe fabric will work for this. So this is a half scale pattern, and the armhole has already been drawn, and the dart is already measured too. So that's the armhole line, that's the bust line, and that's my waistline. So for this gown, I'm not using a bustier, I'm just using a normal dart for this. So I'll be using the normal waist dart and also the side darts. So now I will measure my bust divided by 4 on the bust line. So your bust divided by 4, then at the waist area also my waist divided by 4. Then I'll add the 1 inch for the dart allowance. Yes. So just connect this all together like so the next thing to do now is to take our side dart. So at the bust line, I will go down by 1 inch. So my front half length is 15.5, the back is 14.5. So that's the reason for the 1 inch. So at this point here, I measure my nipples to nipple measurement divided by 2. Then I went inward by 1 inch, by half inch rather. Half inch is enough. So now this is the side dart. So now for the neckline and for the opening as the upper part, I'll go ahead and measure that now. So now for the neckline, I used 3.5 by 3.5. So that was the neckline measurement I used. So 3.5 by 3.5. So you go ahead now and just connect the neckline. Then after you are done with the neckline, you go ahead and measure your shoulder slope. So for the shoulder slope, I'll just go down by 1 inch at the shoulder line. I'll go down by 1 inch, then I will just connect it to the neckline like this. So now the next thing to do is the opening at the shoulder part. So now I measured 1 inch at first. I made a correction to this, so just keep watching. So I measured 1.5. So 1 inch, 1.5. So the remaining line there is 1.5. Then at this armhole line, I measured my chest line. That's the upper bust also. So I located the line. I located the point. Then I drew a line across like this. So that's my chest line. So now we have to connect this point here inward towards this side. So what I did was to measure 1 inch at this chest line, then I'll be connecting it to this line, but I will not be connecting it straight. So I'm using the curvy side of my French curve. As you can see, it is not that curve. So this other side too, that is the 1.5 line, so now I'll connect it like this. Please, I will advise that this tiny line beside the neckline should be wider than this, so that when you want to turn, it will be easier for you to turn. So as you can see that that tiny space there is like half inch. That neckline, as the neckline area, not at the shoulder area, at the neckline area, please make sure it is not too tiny, so that when you are turning this, it will be very easy for you. So now I corrected the neckline at this point here, so I made the opening 1 instead of 1.5. I'll say this again. So please, this line that I'm about to place my pencil on, so this exact line, make sure it is not close to the neckline. This curve, make sure it is not close to the neckline. You will notice there's one part there that is very close to the neckline. Please make sure that part is at least 1 inch, so that when you want to turn this, it will be very easy for me. I struggled to turn mine, though I was able to turn it, but I struggled to turn mine. Please make sure it is not very close to the neckline, so you can still move it inward. So now I'm using my marker to just roll this out so I can know the exact line I'll be cutting. So this is what my opening looks like. I noticed the opening on the inspiration was longer than this, but if you make this longer than this, your bust may be showing, and if you don't want that, you can just go ahead and do it like this. But if you want your bust to show, you can just increase the length. So this is what my pattern is looking like. So I'll go ahead now and draft to the back pattern. So for the back pattern too, it is the basic back pattern, so I've already drafted it. So I'm just going inward here with 0.5. This is to prevent zip bulging. So I will just be measuring, I'll be taking 0.5 inch and I'm blending it like inward like this. So whatever I took out here, I will add it back to my waistline. So I'm adding the 0.5 back to it. So now for the neckline of the back, just use 3.5 inches wide by 1.5 inches deep. Use 1.5. So I measured 2 here, but use 1.5 please. Don't make the back too low. So when I was connecting it right now, as you can see, I did not use the tool. I went upward a little bit. So that's 1.5. So for the shoulder slope also 1 inch. Then you connect it to the neckline. So this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and cut the pattern out. So this is the back pattern. So for the skirt part, let's start with the back. So this is the zipper allowance side. We are cutting the back pattern for the skirts. So now I'll measure my hip line. My hip line for my waist is 8 inches long, but I'll be reducing it by 1 inch. So whatsoever your hip length is, that is from your waist to your hip, the length, whatsoever it is, just reduce it by 1, then just rule a line across. So that's what we'll be using. So now at any point here, you can just measure your waist. So make sure you take out the zipper allowance. So you measure your waist divided by 4. We are not putting that to this. I did not add that to mine. So at this other line here, you measure your hip. So if you are doing it, maybe you measure the waist upward, the hip downward. Just connect the waist to the hip, just like this. So now this is ready. So I'll cut this out. Let's cut the front. So we'll be using this back to cut the front. So this is the back. I went ahead to fold in my zipper allowance. Just fold it in like this. Then you place it on your pattern paper. This pattern paper for the front is folded into 2. Please make sure you fold your pattern paper. So I'm tracing this back on this front pattern. So I'm tracing it on the front. Then I will just mark it out. So after you are done marking, we'll make some extension to the front. So from the line, you make a 5 inches extension. Then you roll it out like this. So just make a 5 inches extension, then you roll. So after you are done, just open up your pattern and just extend the necessary lines that needs to be extended. So after the extension, what I did was to measure my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 at the center front. As you can see that I measure it towards one side, just as if you want to make a dart on this, but we are not making a dart. So now that line there, that 3.5 inches line, just extend it downward to that last line. Yeah, so downward like that. So you'll be connecting both edge, this edge to this other edge. As you can see that at first I used this curvy part of my French curve, but later I changed it to the ruler part. So I'm using this curvy parts, but I later changed it to the straight one. So now this is what the straight line looks like. As you can see, there is a difference there. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the straight part. I don't like the curvy one, so I use the straight one. So this is what I have. So this is the front. So now we are done with the pattern drafting of everything. So this is the back. As you can see how it will look like. So this is the back, and these are my other patterns. So I'll go ahead and cut the fabric. So this is my fabric. I've cut out the main fabric and the lining. I've added the joining allowance of half inch, and for the sides I added 1.5 inches. So this is the skirt part. So I also added half inch all around. So where we'll be joining. So this is the front. As you can see that I've not cut out the opening that was at the that we drafted on the pattern. So I'll be cutting it out now. So just open up your fabric and your lining, make sure they are aligning. So make sure you align them together, then you place your pattern on it, so the side you want the opening to be, so you just place it on it. So now as you can see, the I left out the sewing allowance at the top, and so what I'm doing is I'm redrawing another line. So for this line now, it is half inch away from the original line, that marker line. It is half inches away from this pencil line I'm just drawing. This is because when we are sewing the fabric, we need an allowance, so we'll just use the half inch that I left to join it, to turn it out rather. So when you turn it out, you will have the exact opening that we have here. So make sure this does not move. If you know it will move, please pin it down, then you cut it out. So like I said, when you sew this with half inch, it will be back to the original line, which is the marker line. So now this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and sew this round, and I'll sew the neckline round. So before sewing, let me show you how to calculate the length of your gown. So this is the half length. So whatsoever your half length is, take note of the measurement, and whatsoever the back, as you can see that is the back skirt pattern I'm using. So you measure everything all together. So my half length is 15.5, the skirt is 7, so together I have 22.5. So I'll just deduct 22.5 from the desired length I want. So I'll just deduct 22.5. So I'm working with 45 inches, so I will deduct that 22.5 from the 45, so I have 22.5 also. This is my fabric, so the length is 22.5 and the wideness is times 3 of my hip. So my hip is 36, so it's times 3 of my hip measurement. So these are my fabric. I'll go ahead now and just sew. So I'll go ahead and sew them now. So I'll start with the neckline and this opening. So you sew with half inch, which is the sewing joining allowance. So now for the back also, I went ahead to sew the neckline. I've joined the side and even the armhole. So I'll be turning this out and I'll be notching the armhole and the neckline so that it can turn out perfectly. And for the skirt part too, I've also went ahead to join them together too. So this is the front. So now for this part here, I'll be notching it. Then after notching, I'll be trimming it out so it will be a bit smaller, like quarter inch instead of half inch. So now I'll go ahead and turn this part. So this was the part I was telling you earlier, that make sure it is at least 1 inch wide so that when you want to turn, it will be very easy. Mine was about half inch, so to turn was a huge struggle for me, but though I was able to turn it. So I turned it off camera and this is what it looks like after I was done turning. So I'll go ahead and iron this with a steam iron so that everything can lay flat. So you need to iron this very well so that it can lay flat, and I'll also iron all the other parts. So this is what it looks like after ironing. So it's time to join the shoulder area together. So I'll start with this other side. So I'll join this. So this is for this side here. So I'll place this here like this. So I did not close the armhole of the front, so I'll just place this in between, then I will just sew. I'll place it in between, then I will sew. So just join it any way you know you can join it, but make sure that it is neat at the shoulder area. So I inserted the front into the back, then I turn it inside out, so the joining was inside. So now for this side here, I noticed that I have to loosen this part here that I saw, so I've loosened it out a little bit. Then I'll place this like this, and I'll place this other side too there, but I need to turn out this armhole of this side. Yes, I hope you understand how I join this. Please just join any way you know you will understand. Just join any way you feel it is right. So now I've joined this side. As you can see, I turned it inside out and the armhole is also neat. So this other side here, I'll place this in between like this. So I'll pin it down. I will leave the space. You know, there's a space there. I'll leave the space. Then I will also hold down this, the other one. So use your pin to hold it down. Then you just sew. Like I said, any way you know how to join your shoulder, please join, but make sure it is very neat. So I'll be joining this. So I'll just put my hand inside like this. So I'll be joining. So I want the sewing to be inside. So I'll join this like this with the ½ inch. Then I will join the armhole side that I loosen out. So after I was done joining, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. So it looks very neat the way I joined it. So I went ahead to make my dart also for the front and for the back. So this is the skirt part here. So I'll be joining this to the waist. So this is it. I'll be joining it to the waist, and for the back also I'll be joining it. After I was done, this is what it looks like. I've also went ahead to join the sides of this short dress. So I've joined the sides together also. So now I noticed this was a little bit, the side was was long. So what I did was I went up by 3/4 inches. So I went up by 3/4 inches on both sides. Then I connected it to this pointed edge at the front. So I went up by 3/4 inches at this side. Then I also did the same at this other side too. Then I'll be using the ruler to also rule this, like just blend it back inside like this. So I'll be cutting it out, and in case this affects the back, so watch what I did. So yeah, just blend it down here, and for this side too I blend it in just like that. So now the next thing we'll be doing is to join our gathers. So this is the gathers, this is the fabric. I'll join it together and make gathers. So this is the gathers. After I was done, then I will go ahead and just join these gathers to the edge. So I'll be starting from this zipper side to the other zipper side. So I'm not adding lining to these gathers here, so I'm just joining it without any lining. So now it's time to join this back. So for this back here, make sure you leave enough space so that your hip can pass through here. So I think I joined this side here with one inch, like the straight part. I joined it with 1 inch, then I moved to the ruffle side. So I left space there, as you can see, just 1 inch on this upper part. Then the other side I joined it downward. So this is my zipper. I'll go ahead and fix that. So after I was done, this is what it looks like, and it looks very, very fine and very neat. So I need to iron this because it's looking very rumpled. So after I was done ironing, this is what I have, and it looks really, really beautiful and nice. So let me know in the comment section if you'll be trying this out. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't liked this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.